जी हाँ दोस्तों, एक बार फिर आपकी फेवरेट पॉडकास्ट जोड़ी आपके सामने हाजिर है. कुछ बातें यहाँ की, कुछ बातें वहाँ की. एंड व्हाट कीप्स अस गोइंग इज आपका ढेर सारा प्यार.
What, are you missing being on radio too much?
Of course not. Sometimes, you just have to let things go and move on. Anyway, बाकी गुफ्तगू ब्रेक के बाद, introduction के बाद.
Welcome to the Shabby And Man podcast. We are partners, parents, podcasters, broadcasters.
And everything else in between. Swagatam.
And I have to say that we have been on a roller coaster ride for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks now, I think. Although all the action happened in the space of 7 days. I'm talking about A-level results. I'm talking about GCSE results.
We were also on holiday. It's been a hectic month.
It's been a hectic month.
But it's good to be back.
It's good to be back. And when you say we were on holiday, are you saying we were on holiday, we were taking a break from doing the podcast, or are you actually talking about a Kenyan holiday?
We went on holiday to Kenya.
We're going to talk about that in a different episode, I think, because it's going to take up...
It was my first time in East Africa. मुझे ये भी नहीं पता था Kenya East Africa में पहली बार. Yeah. Once I learned that.
ऐसे कह रहे हैं first time in East Africa as if you've been elsewhere in Africa before. First time in Africa, full stop.
Why? Morocco isn't in Africa.
And no, it isn't. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, maybe it is. When were you in Morocco? Must have been about 200 years ago. Not that I can remember. But it's not
Ma'am Saab, there are many things about my life you don't know.
Thank heavens for that. So we were talking about a crucial week in our lives. And when we did the podcast early on in the year, I'm sure we've not missed a single opportunity to tell our wonderful listeners that our sons were both sitting their GCSEs and their A-levels in the same year. So it had been a hectic year, and much as we were trying to be the cool parents who didn't really care about, as long as you've given it your best shot, that's all that matters, beta. But of course, everybody kind of gets a bit nervous a day or two before results come out. Right?
Absolutely. We were very lucky in a way that both our kids just happened to have exams this year. So they both broke up early. Just exams khatam ho jate, chutti.
Nearly 3 weeks before the rest of the school did, right?
So we managed to take full advantage of this. Pura pasa vasool, and we nipped off on holiday.
Yeah.
Before the rush started.
That's true. Actually, we came back the week before. Most schools finished. But coming back to results, and you always say that your birthday is sandwiched between A-levels and GCSE results, right? It's always third week of August. Oh, that's another landmark thing that happened. Would you like to talk about that?
We can skip over that.
Oh, we can skip over that. All right, okay. So lucky enough, extremely blessed, that our older one who's taken his A-level results, he got 4 A stars. He's off to Cambridge, which is where he wanted to go. It was his first university of choice.
It is where his parents wanted him to go.
It's where his parents wanted him to go.
Let's be honest, about a year ago, he met some ex-students from Cambridge who came to his college, he came to his school, and it put him right off.
Yeah.
Instead of him being excited, he said, I don't want to go to this school, this university rather. Yeah. It seems that they just work.
Yeah.
So then, beta, just for me, please, sit the exams. That's the other thing. To get into Oxford and Cambridge, you have to sit separate exams. You have to have interview after interview.
Yeah. It is a process.
It is quite a process.
Much more than just your A-level results. And based on the interviews and their particular entrance exams, based on that, you're given an offer. And even that is conditional. The offer only stands if you get the grades that they want from you. And we were extremely lucky that Ani got the grades. And he's off to Cambridge in a month's time. So that was that. And a week later, our younger one got his GCSE results, and he's done extremely well as well. Only A's and A stars, and he's got A stars in the 3 subjects that he wants for his 6th form. So we could not be more grateful as parents.
That's something to understand. He has decided he's going to do just 3 subjects for A-level.
Yes. I think which is 99% of the country does.
While the elder one did 4.
4. So because the elder one goes to a school which is extra pushy, they're known for their slave driving and academic excellence, and they insisted that if you can cope with it, then do 4, but most people do 3. So after a hectic week of not just week, a hectic year of boys sitting their exams, a hectic week of results being declared within a space of 7 days, I think we are heaving a sigh of relief, and we are counting our blessings, and we are exceedingly grateful to not just God, but to the two boys as well for working extremely hard and kind of being blessed with the results that we were all hoping for. So it is the cherry on the icing on the cake. Summer 2023 is shaping up to be quite something, I have to say.
I can't remember, not that I'm that old, but I really can't remember
you're not.
My uni days, but it feels like, especially when you got kids, that they're being thrown into the deep end.
Yeah.
Because we went on a Zoom call, me and him, and I've learnt all these new words. The DOS, the Director of Studies, and a couple of ex-students were giving tips that, don't buy...
You mean what to expect when you join Cambridge?
Don't buy an air fryer because everyone will come with an air fryer or a coffee machine. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Things like... this girl said, I normally like to cook pasta and... boil this and put some sauce on it, and I was saying, oh my god, this boy only knows how to make toast.
Yes. Oh, ठीक है उनका वो भी तो है. What is that? They have a cafe. They have a proper canteen kind of thing as well.
They have a fantastic canteen. They have formals and all where they have to dress up in their tuxedo and tails and have dinner with the dons.
Yes.
So and sometimes parents are also invited,
Yeah, so that's another thing we're looking at, all the things that we need to put together before he leaves for university. And actually, I'm not sure if this is true only of Oxbridge, but he's actually been given an extensive reading list. He needs to do a fair amount of prep for the entire month of September before term begins.
Just to be clear, because someone did actually ask me, which school is Oxbridge? So just to explain to people who don't know, Oxbridge is basically an amalgamation of the words Oxford and Cambridge.
Yeah.
So together it becomes Oxbridge.
Yeah, either of the two universities, because they have certain rules, because they have certain procedures which nobody else follows, because of the prestige that is attached to the two universities. So people like to generally refer to them as Oxbridge. We are specifically talking about Cambridge because our son is off to Cambridge. You're right. Our own university days seem like a million years ago. And I remember distinctly in India they're called 10th board exams and 12th board exams. And मुझे याद है कितना प्रेशर होता है उसका, क्योंकि 10th board exams is the first time that you're being externally examined. The same thing that it is here as well, Up until then, it's your own teachers who are marking you. And uske basis par, 10th board exams ke basis par, you decide whether you want to become a science student, an art student, or a commerce student. And traditionally in India, it is believed that you would be a fool to get the grades and not opt for science subjects because you would need higher grades to do science. And I remember I made the grade, but I opted for arts, which is really looked down upon, at least back then it was, that, somebody who doesn't make it to their first choice, though they are the saddies who end up doing history and geography and, English and literature and stuff like that. But it was not the case. That's where I wanted to go. I didn't have a head for maths. And I do not regret the decision.
Teachers who teach STEM subjects get paid more, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
STEM being, of course, science, tech, engineering and mathematics.
Yeah, because it is believed that they have to be brainier than those who teach literature, which, it's absolutely a myth. And so I remember it was a big deal, 10th board, 12th board, they're both crucial years. But another difference is, here in 6th form is the last 2 years of school, right? So 6th form, at the end of the 6th form, you sit your A-levels. And you're actually marked on whatever you've learned in both years, right? But in India, it's not like that.
In my day, it was called lower 6th and upper 6th.
Yeah.
Now they call it year 12 and year 13.
Yeah. But in India, that's not the case. So in India, we take our 10th board exams, then we have 11th, beach make, and 11th May, your school marks you again. And when you take your 12th board exams, again, you're examined on just what you've learned in that 1 year. Easier.
I know very well because, let's just say I was shunted around from country to country.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've done my O-levels here, then my 10th.
Yeah.
Then my 12th, then my A-levels.
Yeah, you did say that, one day you were talking about the War of the Roses and the Stuarts and things like that, and the next day you were doing like Babur, Humayun, Akbar.
Yeah, the Mughal dynasty.
Yeah, so it must have been quite a switch, yeah?
It was. I remember...
Is that how you're justifying your grades?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're not going to talk about them because we can't even remember.
You can talk to me about the Battle of Bosworth or, I don't know, the Lancasters or the Yorks, whatever. Or you can talk to me about...
Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Shah Jahan. Shivaji, the revolt of 1857. It's interesting.
महाराणा प्रताप भी पढ़ा है.
वो अमर चित्र कथा में पढ़ा है या एक्चुअली हिस्ट्री बुक में पढ़ा है?
हिस्ट्री बुक से पढ़ा है.
अच्छा.
So not just Dickens and Shakespeare, It's also Mahadevi Verma and Premchand.
Oh, very good. You've done a bit of homework, I can see. But this is where I feel that it might have been quite interesting. I don't know if you clocked on that young, that certain chapters in history are interpreted a certain way depending on which country you're reading them about. So, for instance, the revolt of 1857 is seen in India. We were taught that we had a great amount of reverence for the revolt of 1857 because it was seen by Indian historians as India's first struggle for independence. India actually got independence nearly 90 years after that, right?
Right. So I did it there as you're saying, the revolt of
Jhansi Ki Rani, 1857.
1857. Yeah. And here it was known as the
Sepoy Mutiny.
The Indian Mutiny.
The Sepoy Mutiny. And here it is really, they brush it aside because obviously it is the first time that, nationalists in India revolted against the Raj. And this is not something they were tremendously proud of.
So I don't actually know where I learnt it all, the Enfield rifles and all that happened.
And how they put beef on the cartridges.
I think I must have learnt all that in India.
In India, because in India it is a very important, very crucial part of our history. Because that is seen...
And where did it happen? Near Lucknow?
Yeah, Kanpur, Lucknow, very good. Kanpur, Lucknow, those were the areas.
ये सब मैंने Indian history... What's the Indian word for history?
इतिहास.
हाँ, मैंने हिंदुस्तानी इतिहास में पढ़ा था.
हाँ. तो काफी मतलब इस पर तवज्जो दिया जाता है जब आप इंडिया में इन चीज़ों के बारे में पढ़ते हैं. बट व्हेन द सेम इंसिडेंट्स फ्रॉम द पेजेस ऑफ हिस्ट्री आर गिवन अ वेस्टर्न ट्विस्ट, और व्हेन वेस्टर्नर्स टॉक अबाउट इट, it may or may not feel as significant as it did to us because obviously it was a part of our history.
I think here my main chunk of history lessons was probably Henry VIII.
I was just going to say it's all about the dynasty, the monarchy, and how it has kind of evolved over the years, and the relationship between the monarchy and the church, and how
they did all that in Henry VIII's time. And I think
Catholicism and Protestantism, or whatever it is called, and Church of England and all that.
In terms of wars and all, we probably concentrated more on the Boer War.
Yeah, the Boer War was at the turn of the century, much before the First World War and the Second World War, right?
Just before that.
I remember that because I think Arthur Conan Doyle,
the Crimean War as well.
The Crimean War and all these things. We read about them as well, but I think they're not as crucial to us as.
I remember having to learn in English literature The Charge of the Light Brigade, which is about the Crimean War.
Yes.
Is it Tennyson?
Tennyson. Well, now you're taking me to my mum and dad's territory, which there's certain poems by their favorite poets they can still recite by heart, as they say. Verbatim to this day. So there you go. So it feels like a long time.
I don't know, I can't remember any poems. I only know dirty limericks, I think.
I know Jhansi Wali Rani, as it happens, 1857. सिंहासन हिल उठे, राजवंशों ने भ्रुकुटी तानी थी, बूढ़े भारत में भी आई फिर से नई जवानी थी, गुमी हुई आज़ादी की कीमत सबने पहचानी थी, दूर फिरंगी को करने की सबने मन में ठानी थी, चमक उठी सन 57 में वो तलवार पुरानी थी, बूंदे ले हर बोलों के मुंह हमने सुनी कहानी थी, खूब लड़ी मर्दानी वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी. Just one verse, and I think there are about 25 verses in this. That's absolutely brilliant. This
अब आपने झांसी की रानी सीखी?
सुभद्रा कुमारी चौहान.
मैंने जोन ऑफ आर्क सीखा.
अच्छा. Oh, care to recite some of it? I don't think so.
No, actually I saw a movie.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, that's how you did your prep, huh? For exams. So that's that. Yeah. I think Rohan seriously asked us one day because he had, what is it that an inspector calls, right? What they have in their GCSEs. So we were watching it on TV the other day, a BBC adaptation from the 60s, I think. And he was seriously wondering if you could just get away with watching the adaptation and not reading the book and sitting his exam. Glad he didn't do that. So, yeah, as we were saying that...
I've seen a later version of that, Inspector Calls. I think I've seen it in the theatre.
I feel that because there are so many layers to that story, I'm not sure if 16-year-olds are mature enough to appreciate what that play is trying to say to you. But then who am I to critique whatever their syllabus is? Don't you reckon? Because it is so much about having a chat with your conscience and social norms, and because at the end, anyone who's read the book, they know that at the end there is no one who. It is everybody's imagining and adjusting it to their own reality.
Correct.
Morality, rather.
But when you're between the ages of 14 and 16 and 14 and 18, you're expected to read some Shakespeare's, some Dickens.
That's true. But no, I understand.
I remember everyone has something that they had to do in for the exams. Mine were 12 Nights, and Dickens, I think I did Hard Times.
No, but these are all books that
you just have to do them.
You have to do them, but then I also feel that you appreciate them, or you see a different side to them only when you read them as adults, and not when you have to look at it purely from an exam perspective and answer questions, right?
But you say, I heard you once on the radio that in your exams you had a guide.
Yeah. So when I was doing
I know Guide as a movie with Dev Anand.
Yeah. In English literature, we had to do we did Far from the Madding Crowd, which was oh God, I've forgotten now.
Come on.
Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy, Far from the Madding Crowd, which must be the worst book anyone has ever read or written in history.
You haven't read Death of the
D'Urbervilles, I think, is still a little bit more kind of. This was so depressing, and it was just of no interest to me, but I had to read it from an exam point of view. And then we had to do an Indian author writing in English, which was Guide, R.K. Narayan. And again, it took the joy out of that story, because when you have to think about summarize Raju and Rosie's relationship in 2,000 words, or talk about Fanny's revenge. That's an episode in Far from the Madding Crowd, by the way. Gabriel Oak and Fanny and
very good.
Yeah.
So coming back from the recess of your mind.
The recess of my mind, only because I absolutely hated the story and everything that I had to do to kind of prepare for my exam. But you're right, there's certain things you have to do. There's no getting away from it. And sometimes it's, as we've seen so many times in your case, when we're just randomly sitting and watching University Challenge or Mastermind or Only Connect, you might not know the simplest of things, but sometimes you know things about, the Renaissance and French artists and obscure Hollywood directors and God knows what. Clearly, you have been wasting your time over these things.
Useless information.
Useless. You are a minefield of useless information, but sometimes it does come in handy.
I specialize in that.
Sometimes it does come in handy. So we've got the older one heading off to university soon. We've got the younger one moving into upper sixth. And
actually, one more thing I want to say. We're very excited because we live in London, on the outskirts of London, and Cambridge is very close to us. It's less than an hour away.
Yes.
So
lucky for us.
So we've been there on quite a few trips before.
Yes.
So it's quite nice. Oh, by the way, the college he chose has the stipulation where they have the laundry done for them.
Oh, amazing.
So that is also quite a nice thing. Hopefully he doesn't have to come back with his laundry like I used to.
Yeah. And it is actually very picturesque. It is a beautiful place. And I will not say that word again, because you say that each time we do a podcast, you bring up empty nesting.
Please
but
do.
I am thinking about the fact that we'll be one man short from October. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We might just be taking another short. We might be missing out one episode in the middle, because I am heading off to India as well for 2 weeks very soon. And it's been absolutely amazing to have two boys work hard and get the results they wanted, and to see the start of their journey into university, sixth form, adulthood. Amazing.
But in the end, exams don't matter.
That's true.
Life
is life, and it is your work ethic that matters. As long as you've given it your best, as long as you've tried your hardest and put in a sincere effort, that's all we really asked, and we're just, lucky.
If I look at most of my ancestors, they didn't
go to Oxford or Cambridge. You can say that again.
Speak
for yourself.
They didn't.
Speak for yourself.
They weren't educated, is what I was going to say.
But there you go. Well, actually, mine didn't go to Oxford or Cambridge either. Although I have to say that my grandfather came in when in the years that India gained independence, between 1946 and 1948. My grandfather came to Manchester to do textile engineering, and Manchester was the place where the Industrial Revolution had kind of taken place.
My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, my nana also.
Even I'm talking about my nana.
Also came to
London.
I think he came to London, not Manchester, to do his medicine.
He was an eye surgeon, right? And he came to the mecca of eye surgery, which is Moorfield Hospital in London. So yeah, as it happens.
Well, that's my uncle. I'm talking about my grandfather.
But even your grandfather came here, right? So they're both eye surgeons, your grandfather and your uncle. So yeah, we've had some very accomplished students in our family as well. But Yeah, it's about choosing a place and choosing a course that makes you happy. At the end of the day,
Aren't your cousins IIT and then
they are IIT, IIM.
IIM?
That's true. I have AIMS. My Masi is a doctor from AIMS, which is the top medical school in India. My sister's from I forget now, architecture, the top architecture school in India as well. I'm from Miranda House, which has been voted for the last 7 years the number one college in India. In India, mind you, yeah? In India, not North India. Not in Delhi either, in India. So I think it is, like I said, at the end of the day, grades don't matter. Your work ethic does. At the end of the day, as long as you get to choose the subjects that you enjoy and you get to be in a place where you find good friends, that's all that matters.
And they say in the end, if you can do a job that you love,
yeah, it doesn't feel like a job.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. We're on the brink of 2 new adults, 116, but still.
Right, well, if you look at his height,
yeah, that's true.
He is the adult in the family.
Yes, the youngest but the tallest
compared to us.
So we've got two people embarking on new adventures, is what I meant, and it is an exciting. Of course, as a mother, I have to say it is a extremely sad time as well when you feel that your babies have grown up, but it is what it is, and we're very excited as parents. I think we just wanted to reminisce and talk about our past as well.
And anyway, we'll once we go there in about a month's time, I go there.
Yeah. What do you mean I go there? Even I'm going to go and drop him off. I'm planned to be there every weekend. Now that you've told everybody so helpfully that it's only an hour away.
And we found out that parents are invited to some of these formals. You know where you wear your tuxedo?
Yes, yeah.
And you bring your own bottle of wine.
Oh, BYOB.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I'll be going to those.
As long as not...
I don't know whether he wants me to come, but I'll be going to them.
As long as it's not BYOD.
What's that mean?
Bring your own degree.
No.
They don't want to see ours.
I thought you were going to say bring your own dad.
No. Well, that's it then. Thank you so much for joining us on the Shabby and Man podcast. It's a new season that we started a few weeks ago, and like I said, we might be skipping out 1 week because I'll be away on holiday to India, but not for long, and we will be back. And there's loads of things. 2023 is shaping up to be a year like no other. It was my 50th. We had a fantastic holiday. We had 2 crucial exams. We've had the results now. We've had family over from Kenya, so all the cousins and everybody else decided to had a chance to meet. I'm heading off to India to see my mum, dad, sister, my family and friends in India, and we could not be more grateful for how blessed we feel.
What I do like is you're waiting till next week before you head off, because I believe you're introducing Sholay.
That's right.
In Wembley. That sounds beautiful.
Wembley Box Park is where.
Remember once, this is actually the second time, I don't think most people know this, but remember 20 years ago
when we went and saw it,
Leicester Square with
Dharmendra, that's right. So it's just one of those wonderful iconic films that is being shown just to mark the end of summer, and I have been given, ironically, the opportunity to introduce a film that needs no introduction. But of course I'm going to be rattling off all my favorite Sholay dialogues. If you've heard past
for all time, say ek maar de.
Mera favorite hai bhai, where Amitabh Bachchan's character goes to Dharmendra, to Basanti's मौसी धर्मेंद्र का रिश्ता लेके, तो मौसी कहती कि अरे बेटा, बेटी ब्यानी है, मैं सौतेली माँ नहीं हूँ, सगी मौसी हूँ, पता तो चले लड़का का खानदान कैसा है, कमाता कितना है. तो ऑफ कोर्स अमिताभ बच्चन टर्न्स अराउंड से, अरे मौसी, एक बार शादी हो जाएगी तो कमाने भी लगेगा और खानदान का पता चलते ही सबसे पहले आपको बताएंगे. सो शी सेज, क्या वो वाकई तुम्हारा दोस्त कुछ नहीं कमाता? नहीं मौसी, ऐसा मैंने कब कहा, लेकिन अब रोज रोज इंसान जुए में तो नहीं जीत सकता. क्या वो जुआ भी खेलता है? अरे एक बार शादी हो जाएगी तो जुआ खेलना भी बंद कर देगा, और जुआ बंद हुआ तो कोठे पे जाने की भी जरूरत नहीं. I think Sholay is one of those films where every frame, each dialogue is a masterclass in how films should be written, how films should be shot, and how stories should unfold on 70mm. Excited.
The movie has stood the test of time.
Absolutely. 76, right?
75.
75 or 76. Well, that's the first thing I need to get right when I'm there. But enough about Sholay, enough about us and our holiday and our boys heading off to their adventures. We will catch you again on the Shabby and Man podcast very soon. If you're not following us on social media, I don't know why you aren't. Please do rate, recommend, review, and tune in and continue to give us the love that you do on DMs. Thank you so much.
Till next time, cheerio now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.